So another collection that is implementing the list interface is the array list. This is very important collection because this is most widely used collection. So the array list is non-synchronized. So earlier we were discussing about the vector. So vector was the synchronized. So the problem with the synchronized or the thread safe collection is like because it is synchronized, it always checks whether so there is lock or not from some thread. So it becomes a bit slower. So in this case, the array list is non-synchronized. So that means multiple threads can operate at the same time on the same collection. So this is much faster than the other collection, and the array list actually contains the insertion order. So whatever the order you are inserting, you could get in the same order, right? So that will not be disturbed. So it allows the duplicate as well. So whatever the input, you could add the multiple duplicate records into it, and it allows the random access based on the index. So you could get it whatever the in order you have inserted, you could get it in that index, get it by the index number. And as I said, it is slower because it is in case of like any update, delete, or anything you are doing anything in that case, because there are a lot of shift operations we need to implement. So it is a bit slower than the other collection. So this is what the basics about the array list. So the initial capacity is 10. The load factor will be the 1, and the growth rate will be the current size plus current slide size divided by 2. So when you will go for the once the it will reach the threshold, let's say the 10 is the threshold. So your next growth rate will be the 10 plus 10 and divide by 2. That means the result will be the 15. So you will get the next capacity as the 15. So this is what the formula, and these are the time space complexity for the any get index. I will give you the example like how you could get it. So the complexity will be the 1. In this linked case, you could ignore for now. That will be the on by 4. So the add element will be the o1 or on. Remove will be the O n by 2. Add index will be O n by 2. Iterator remove, if you are using the iterator to remove any element, then O n by 2. And list iterator add will be the O n by 2. So this is what the time space complexity for the array list. So to implement the array list, I will go here and I will say array list example. I'm giving number, saying public static void main, right? So I'm saying array list, let's say integer. I could take other data type as well. Int list equal to new array list. So I'm saying int list dot add, let's say 1. Similarly, int list dot add 2. Something like this. We could add the multiple elements. To check what is the capacity of it, we could simply say int list dot capacity or size. With this, it is the size method, right? So if I will run this, it will say size is 2 because I have added 2 records or the 2 values. So I could simply iterate it. I'm not using integer int val int list, and I'm saying sys o, and I'm saying int val, so it will print the value. Just adding some value. I could simply print it like this. So it is printing the size and it is printing the values one by one. And if I want I could get it by the indexes. Oh, so I am saying uh, index, let's say, plus 0, not like this, saying index value at index 0, and I'm saying plus int var dot uh, get int list dot 0, not here actually. We need to remove it from here and to remove extra bracket so I could print it. So if you see, so it will print the 1 at the index 1 because I have added it there, right? So if you're seeing when I'm print iterating, it is maintaining the order. In this order I have added it. So let's I will if I will do 2 and I will say it 1, it will print 1, 2 and 1 as per the order because it is always maintaining the order. And if I want, I could give the initial capacity to the array like we did in the vector sys o saying int list dot so the capacity, right? So in this way we could add the initial capacity as well. So you could see that we have the API details with the Oracle, and we are seeing the array list. So here it is introduced at 1.2 version from the JDK, and you could see we have the array list. We could pass the collection in the array list constructor. We could give the initial capacity which I have uh, given you in the example. We could add the index, particular index number. We could also add that. So we could add the value at the index like uh, I've added it at the index 2, something like that, but we can't give more than the capacity. So I can't give you the more than the capacity of the index is like 2. I could give you up to the 2. I cannot give you the more than the capacity. That means the value I have added. So in some way you could say that it will update the existing list only. So we could add all that. We, if there is a collection, we could add it. We could clear, we could clone the array list if we want. So we could check the contents. This is very widely, or I would say like uh, you know it is used very frequently. So we could check it. Let's say I could say if uh, int list dot contains, I could say 2, then only print. So it will print only the 2 values because I'm checking contains. So it will give you the boolean as a return so that you could check. You could ensure the capacity. You could use the for each for iteration. You could get it value from the particular index. So let's say I could say I will use the existing. So I could say get, let's say 0. It should give the 2 as a value response. 2 could see it. Index of, you could return the index of particular value as well. So I will say get, sorry, dot get not index of, let's say 1. it will give you the not one, yeah, the value. It will give you the index of that one value. So it is -1, and you could check whether it is empty. You could check you could iterate it and return the iterator. You could check the last index of, you could remove particular element. So I will say like int list dot remove, let's say remove 2. In this case it will remove the 2. See, so remove all, replace. You could set the value at a particular uh, index. You could size, you could get the size. You could sort it, sub list. You could convert to array, trim to size. All these methods you could actually implement and test. So these are the functionality or the behaviors that ArrayList. So we have this collection interface, which our list usually uh, implement, and list implement is implemented by the array list. So if you see the various method that is coming from the collection itself, we don't we don't have a specific method there. We are actually inheriting methods from the parent interfaces. Let's say add all, clear, all these methods are from the uh, collection interface itself. So other than that, if you go like mm, right, so there are specific method from the list interface as well. So you could see these methods are there already in the list interface, so that we get from here to there. So remember this. So one of the method is the sort method. So why we use this sort method, I need to discuss in the example. So let's say there is let me remove this. Let me remove this as well. 3, I'm saying 4, and what I could do is like I could do collection dot sort and import it dot sort. So if you go by the definition of this, so sorts specified into the ascending order, that is the natural ordering of the element. Remember this. This particular method will sort in a natural order. So it must be implemented a comparable interface if uh, you don't want to class cast exception, something like that. So if I will pass this here and print it or run it, so you could see it is ordering or sorting in a natural order. Otherwise it will maintain its insertion order. Remember this, right? So this is how we could sort if we want to sort. So another way, like we could pass the custom comparator. So in this case, because we have only integer value, that is the one element, so I could simply say like compare int1 with the int2. So it is comparing the same object. We don't have the separate object, we have the same object, and we are saying come int1 to int2. So that means it will be a natural order. So in a ascending manner. So if I will run it, right, it was saying this, and if I will say true compare with the one, it will just return the descending order. So this is how you could use the custom comparator to compare the or the sort the element from the list. So what if I want to keep more complex object into the list? So let's say array list example 5. Now here I'm doing is I'm creating one another class employee, and it has a private uh, int id, private string name, private string address, and I'm creating the setter getter for setting and getting the values. So you will go to the source and you could go to setter getter, select all. I'm just generating it dynamically from the IDE. I don't have to write it manually. Right? So that is the benefit of using the IDE. So now I'm saying array list. Same thing, by the way, you could do for the vector as well. Employee, saying employee list equal to new array list, and I need to import this, or I could simply use the shortcut as well. So control shift, not control alt control O. So I could use the control shift O to import the classes. So I could simply say, so there are two ways, right? Either you could use the setter getter. Let's say I need to create the object employee emp equal to new employee, right? And I will say emp dot set, let's say id 1, emp dot set name. I need to pass the string which we will pass in code, double quotes, emp dot set address, let's say 123 test avenue, and this is the object which we need to add into the array list. So I will say emp list dot add. I will add this emp as the object because I'm passing data type for the collection list as an employee. So I've added this employee, right? Similarly, what I could do is I could create the constructor for these attributes. So I will say constructor using fields. I will use these fields to create the constructor, and I will pass these values 1 comma Ravi comma test. And both are fine, absolutely fine. There is no issue with the both kind of initialization. You could either use the constructor or the setter method. Let's say I'm using this one, right? You could use the setter getter as well. So I'm running it. So to save -1, ignore. Okay, I just need to run it. I'm not doing anything, so it is not doing anything. So let me print this. So let's say I'm saying get me the object employee from list, right? And I will say sys o control spacebar and e dot get id plus space plus e dot get name, right? If I will run it, it will print id and the name, or I could print the address as well. So I will say e dot get address, or I could simply use, let me comment this part, for loop as well. Both are same, there's no difference. As I mean, the functionality wise both are same. So I semicolon I is less than employee list dot size semicolon I plus plus, and I could use the same structure. Is just the difference will be, instead of e dot get id, I will say employee list dot get index I. Now I need to get the method get id. Similarly, I will use the other places. So I will say get name. So I'm getting from the index. In the above case, like the advanced for loop, it was I was getting the value as an object itself. So that is the difference. So okay, I need to initialize it 0. You see, I could print the same value from this as well. I mean, both are the same. That's the point. So similarly, I could add more object like this. So I need to create another object with another reference name to say to 1 5, let's say 3 7, let's say 4 4 need say 3 let's say 2, right? I could simply, I need to add them as well. emp list dot add emp2 emp list dot add emp3 emp list dot add emp4. We could do this as well. So see, it is printing and it is maintaining the insertion order. So if I will do it earlier, so on this, so it will give you the result in the insertion order. So what if I want to sort it? So I could say collection dot sort emp list. Let's see what happened. List. So it is saying not applicable for the argument employee. Why? Because it is a object with multiple attributes. So I need to write a comparator. So what I could do is, like, I could simply implement the comparator like we did uh, in this case. So what I will do, I will simply copy paste this, and instead of integer I will say, so in this case I could say 1 with 2 get name and get name. So it will give you the natural order of name, so which is like Amar, Neil, Raju, Ravi, which is the natural order. So this is how you could compare and sort your element inside the collection.